You are listening to the All Metal Mode podcast with your host, Mike Hare. Join me and Gypsy Jules every Monday night and Matt Hoffman and myself every Tuesday night. Listen in as we discuss a wide range of metal detecting and related topics such as technical, equipment, talk to guests, and so much more. Sit back, join in on the drinking game. For those new to the show, every time I say relic machine, you need to do a shot. These are the rules. I didn't make them up. We hope you enjoy this episode of All Metal Mode. Hey everybody, this is Mike and you're listening to the All Metal Mode podcast. Tuesday nights, it's me and Matt. So, we're just going to get right into it tonight. I'll tell you, I'm really not feeling it tonight. I don't know. I think I'm kind of a little bit of lack of sleep and just run down. But I think we'll get into this and I'll get into it as well. What's up, Matt?
Oh, not too much. I'm pretty sure, though, you're not feeling it because we're getting closer to Doomsday. And by Doomsday, I mean that's when I get to give you a good metal detecting lesson.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, Lord.
Well, some people would say Jesus. I won't go that far, but I will say I'm pretty good at metal detecting.
Here we go with this crap again. Oh, Lord.
No, I'm just joking.
I am really excited to get back, do some detecting, being able to get away from Randy a little bit and stuff. I mean, I love him to death, but I feel like the little guy's
sometimes you just need a break.
I do, man. I need to get out and do some metal detecting, and I'm so excited to be doing that with the new Anfibio. I don't know. Most people are calling it the Nocta Anfibio, but I think it's Macro Nocta. I think it's their first release that it's a joint detector, but I don't know. It's really interesting. I sent you pictures. It breaks down. I think while we're kind of talking about that, I'm going to post a couple pictures in the All Metal Mode group on Facebook, and I'm really looking forward to that. I love the Macro Noctis for relic hunting, the iron volume. This doesn't have iron volume.
What?
Seriously, does not have iron
volume. No way.
Volume. Well, check this out though. This is what it has. You, depending on how many programs you're on, you control the volume for each group of tones.
That's wow, cool. That's cool.
Yeah, I'm excited.
All right, that is pretty cool then.
Yeah, somebody cool. In one of the groups was saying that the 14 and the multi doesn't have iron volume now, and I'm like, what? I'm freaking out, man. I'm like, why would they do away with that? I'm just like, but no, it's because they're doing, you control the volume for each section.
That's even cooler that's even cooler yet.
Yeah. So, I like the feel of it. I love the handle. It's kind of got a little bit of curve in the handle, and it's a good rubber. Very comfortable, it collapses down really far. I'm really digging it. Yeah, I'm going to go post a picture I took today of it. I haven't had it out. I just got it yesterday. Well, hold on one second. Old Iron Ray. Old Iron Ray sends me emails now and then, and Ray, I really appreciate those, and I like that, man. Any questions you got, feel free to ask. Look, I'm not an expert. by any means. I've used quite a few detectors, and I love talking detectors. So, but if you got questions, tonight we don't really have a theme or anything. Hey, let's get on and let's talk metal detecting and whatever else, ghosts and whatever. That's something that really fascinates me. Is ever since I found that button and I had that crazy experience that I guess you'd call paranormal experiences, and talking about that, and people who have reached out to me, have had their own experiences metal detecting and with finds and stuff. That's pretty fascinating. Since we're around Halloween, I'd like to get into a little bit of that. If anybody's got any good stories or anything
Well,
like
since
that.
you brought it up, Mike,
Do it.
I would like to go ahead and tell everybody that I finally have got around to looking at my video from down at the park where you had that experience.
Mm-hmm.
And I was with my balloon story. And, okay, so I had two cameras running when that was filmed initially. One was on a tripod. One was on a GoPro on my head. The one on my tripod I've located first, looked at that. It's been a month or two ago now probably. And magically it did not record anything. The one that was on my head was a GoPro that was strapped to my head. And I had the little remote around my neck. And there's a little red light. When it's recording, it shows you it's recording. Like, I can tell it's recording. Well, guess what? Looked at that video. Doesn't exist.
What happened?
There's nothing there. I don't know. Now, here's what's crazy. Shortly after the balloon incident, all that video's on there. All the video when Scott misplaced his metal detectors there. We left his metal detector sitting under a tree, and we went to another place and had to make a quick haul back to the other park before we we had to. And luckily, it was still sitting there. But all that video there, everything else I filmed is there from that day. There's now I'll tell you what's interesting is the video doesn't exist. There's nothing in the video. It's just black screen. Okay. But there's time like elapsed when that went down. So like it recorded, but it didn't record anything but a black screen. So you tell me how two videos off of two separate cameras don't record this whole thing. I don't know. It blows my mind. In fact, I don't know if there's anyone I could take that to see if there's anything they could recover out of that. But all that's there is nothing. I mean, there's nothing there. It's recording. It's playing a video that exists, but it doesn't exist because it's a black screen. So how the hell that happens, I don't know. But I don't know any super video masters that maybe can take a look at that and see what the hell happened. But if there's anything, I don't know. But
weird.
Yeah, so after my long-awaited time of eventually finding the camera and finally getting around to looking at it, because I'll be honest, I was like, I really almost don't want to see what's going on in that video, because I'll be like kind of weirded out if there would have been something really crazy. But be honest, now it's just as bad because I got a black screen, and though it was recording, it magically didn't record any of that. Right. I don't know. So that almost makes me just as bad.
I don't want to go into my story again. Everybody's heard it, but I do want to say this. So at this park, it's a country park. Out in the country, a little tiny town in Ohio. And doing some overlay, I'd found a really old foundation out in the woods and behind it, up against a creek. The first time I hunted there, it just creeped me out. I felt like somebody's watching me. I didn't go back without people. I dug a button one day, and I had just a crazy thing happen to me. In a split second, there was a scene in my head. So fast forward years later, and Matt's going to be in that area, And I told him about this park. I didn't tell him. He'd heard the story, but I didn't. I just didn't think to bring it up. Hey, that's where I had my experience. But I brought up the park and told him about it. And we're doing a show after he hunted there, and I was bringing up my story again, and he goes, Mike, speaking of that, he said, I had really something weird happen to me while I was hunting that park that you told me about. And I said, I told him a couple different places, and so we're talking, and I'm like, is that park out in the country, you know? And yeah, and I said, that's where I had my experience. That's where I dug that button at. Now tell them, you know, we've only talked about it like once. Tell them what happened.
So basically, it was super early in the morning. I mean, it was like the crack of dawn, and I mean, just, you know, it was wind was blowing, but not that much. I mean, super quiet. There wasn't a soul in sight. There was no one at this place except for me, and just randomly after I was recording some stuff and just doing some shots, out of nowhere, like there's this balloon headed towards me, and I'm kind of looking, and I'm like, where the hell did this thing come from? And the thing, and it's not like. It's not. What's weird is it wasn't blowing like with the wind. Like it should have been going pretty much to my left side if I was facing it. It should have been coming off to the left, and this thing's coming right at me. And I'm going, well, this is kind of strange. Now it's not way up in the air either. I mean, it's only maybe 8 foot, 10 foot in the air at the most. And at first, I didn't really pay much attention. I just kind of seen a balloon coming, and then. You know, when I really started like looking at it, I realized like, man, this thing's like coming right at me. This is kind of strange. So that's when I hit the record button again, and I'm like, I got to film this because this is awful weird. And it was like once I started filming it and like paying attention to it, the thing like stopped, like didn't even move for like maybe 5 seconds, and then like instantly started going completely the other way, and then. Just like kind of took like it was like someone just let the thing go, and it went up in the air like you'd expect a helium balloon to do. I mean, it was super weird, and I went home and I told my brother and my dad because when I got back up in the Columbus area, I was like, dude, this is crazy. Now, I wish I would have checked that video that day, but it was kind of like I didn't think that much of it. I just kind of forgot about it, and then I ended up losing I lose a lot of stuff, so. Ended up losing my camera for multiple months. Finally found, I lost both of them, and I found the one that was on the tripod. That didn't catch anything. Magically, there was no video on that, which, okay, I was willing to say that, just by chance, maybe the battery was shut off or so. I don't know what happened there. But so I finally find this other camera, pull it out today. I thought I'm going to look at this today so that I can have an update for everybody, and sure as baloney, man. It's there's video there that recorded, but it's black. Like there's nothing. It's like nothing exists.
Creepy.
And then shortly after that, the video does kick back on, and it's when I was recording this ring that I found out there, which turned out was not a. At first I thought it was a gold ring, and it was just plated, but. Video kicked back on for that, and the rest of the day, like when I filmed stuff with it no problems at all. But somehow magically, both cameras didn't catch the whole balloon incident, which I don't know, almost weirds me out more than if I'd have just watched it and it was just a random balloon floating past. I don't know,
right.
But I'm not saying it was a ghost. I'm just saying it's
weird experience.
I don't know. It was, yeah, definitely strange.
And
I'm just saying it's the last part. It's the last time that I'm going to go to that park that early in the morning by myself. I'm going to tell you that. That's not going to happen again.
You know what's so crazy to me? Old Iron Ray says any sound. Can you guys not hear us? But what's weird about that, man, is when I dug that button and that scene was in my head, I felt like, there was a kid running up a hill after his dad. that was going off to war. They weren't in uniform, but that's what I felt, man. I mean, that's what the story I got. He was running, and the kid's running after him, and I felt like the kid was showing me this. I felt like that the very instant that happened, like the kid was showing me that. And isn't that funny that it would be a balloon? I mean, kids
Yeah, I
love
mean,
balloons.
it's definitely strange. I mean, it's the first time I've ever had that happen to me. I'll tell you that. I mean, I don't know. And in fact, it was weird enough to the point, even at the time, where like I was like, maybe I'm gonna go sit in the car till Scott shows up. I don't know about this balloon, what this thing was up to, but it seemed like very abnormal behavior for a balloon. But like I said, could there be very simple logical explanation? I don't know, probably. But when you lose two videos that should have been, I mean, and that's not the first time that's happened.
You don't
to me.
think think you accidentally turned them off, do you?
Oh no! Like the first camera should have been recording. The battery was still charged.
Ray
the
asked.
Second camera.
Ray asked, was there any sound on them?
No. In the video part that's black, there's time. There's a couple minutes of time that elapsed there, but there's no sound and it's just black video. There's nothing on it. Huh. And then it kicks into like the part where, and that's what's so strange is because, like I said, I knew the thing was recording, so I was 100% sure when I find the camera that when I watch that video, the balloon would be on there because I know it was recording. But yeah, apparently not. I mean, I've never had that. I've had that happen when places like my camera stopped working and stuff. When I used to ghost hunt. We used to have a website and everything, and I've had that happen before at a place or two, but like not like just randomly out metal detect and shooting a video. Like the thing just apparently doesn't record whatever. Like that's and so I don't know. I feel like I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, man. That park, every bit of that park made me feel uneasy. But definitely I couldn't be back in the woods by myself, man. It was just, I don't know, something about it from the very first time just creeped me out. Noel said, him and I have been talking for years, and we've never met. No, I'll be in the Dayton area, buddy. All my family's in the Dayton area, so I'll be there. I'll be there until probably leave out next Saturday. I'm leaving this Friday to go, and then I'll be coming back the following Saturday. And I'm really excited. I'm excited to get some real detecting in, some serious time in, and living here in Texas, neither one of us have family. We don't have any babysitters or anything like that, so it's so hard to get away. And Steph works a lot and everything else, and so I need this. I really do, and I hope my family understands, and I can get some good time in. And hopefully Monday I'll be whipping the crap out of Matt that's been trash talking.
Oh man!
And I'm really excited about
the comedian.
I'm really excited about this this Anfibio. It's man, I you guys know I'm a big fan of the Anfibio, macro Nocta macro. I always say it backwards. Just huge fan. The Impact, the multi-cruiser, man, they handle that iron so good. And yeah.
So you said you can it doesn't have the iron audio volume, but you can adjust audio volumes for the different tones. How many different tones does that thing offer?
Two-tone gen mode, which I don't remember how many's in gen. It's got more programs than the multi-cruiser. It's got a 99 tone. Okay. I don't know how that adjusts you. I haven't really messed with it. I've been reading the manual.
Yeah.
I just got it yesterday. I haven't even got out with it, but I'll learn out in the field. I mean, it's it's different. for sure, but it's close enough to like the multi-cruiser and Impact. They're all similar in ways, and I like that. I mean, they're definitely their own machines, but there's some definite differences. But I'm kind of excited. I the EUD. Have you ever used that?
Not personally, no.
Do you know about it?
Yeah, I know. I mean, I understand the purpose or the function of the. Basically, isn't it like enhanced depth?
The depth. Yeah.
Yeah.
Scott Dubé is in the UK, and he's running a multi-cruiser, and the EUD function, from my understanding, it whatever program you're in, it goes into a single tone, but deep. It goes deep. And he said, what was he telling me? Like if it's 18 inches or shallower, he'll get it. He'll get it. He feels confident he'll get it. In EUD, and he hunts a lot of fields, and they don't. A lot of times they don't have to deal with iron. It's a lot of their sites don't have iron. They'll walk all day for 6 or 7 hits, but they're usually really good hits. And so I'm excited to walk out, put on that big 15-inch coil after I've hunted in the iron with a smaller coil, which I think I'm just going to take. I think I'm just going to take like my 7-inch concentric, my 15-inch, and the stock coil. I'm not sure. I want to try this new stock coil out. This coil's a little different. They've changed their coil designs. Their coil design for their stock coil. It's still 11 inches, but it's round. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I did notice that actually. Now that you say that, when you sent me that picture, I did notice that.
And I believe the Simplex, that's going to be, they're going to have 2 of those, one like 250, one a little over 300. I believe the one over $300 is going to share the same coil. How cool is that?
Yeah, that's cool.
Mm-hmm. And then the one at 250 or between 250 and 3, they're talking about like an 8-inch double D coil, something like that, something around 8 inches. So that's pretty neat. That won't be out until spring sometime, or after the first of the year for sure. She told me. But yeah, I'm bringing my secret weapon. Watch out.
I'm bringing my secret weapon, and it's called Matthew Hoffman.
Oh boy, here we go. Oh man.
No, I don't mean the actual stuff I say. I just strictly, I'm joking around for everybody who, in case there's anybody who thinks I'm being serious.
What are you planning on field hunting with?
I am going to bring I think I'm going to bring the Impact. I'm also going to bring the 30-30, and I'll probably bring the Cruiser as well, just in case it's raining. I'd like to have the Cruiser with me. Obviously, the 30-30 is waterproof, but I don't hold my faith in that machine for field hunting. In the times that I have tested it, even in a 2-tone mode, I don't know. I think if anything, if I was going to field hunt between that or, for a Mind Lab product, I'd probably kick back to the E-Track, because I feel like that's a better machine in the field than the 30-30. But with the Impact on board and the Cruiser, I mean, I'm going to find it hard to put down my 30-30. I'm not going to lie, because I do love that machine. But truly, it would be probably more productive for me to use either the Impact or the Cruiser. I don't know. I'm gonna switch up some stuff. I've got a backpack that I had bought that got a lot of different pockets and straps and stuff on it, and I am going to strap up I'll probably strap up the Impact and the the Cruiser and the 3030 to the backpack and tote them along with me, and have it switched up. So I'm gonna be toting around like 400 pounds of extra gear.
There you
because
go.
I want to have everything that I possibly might need. Plus, I got a new camera gimbal stabilizer set up, and I'm gonna shoot some nice videos. So
yeah, while you're packing all that stuff around, I'm gonna be detecting light. And I'll make all the finds while you're toting everything around and carrying everything. And yeah, good deal. Good deal, man.
Man, I
personally, just my opinion, I'd leave that 3030 in the car. I think it's a waste to be packing that for field.
I don't. Yeah, I mean, probably is, but. Then if I get out around outside the iron, if I have that 30-30 with me and I get to some just to hit some spots, maybe just see if I can yank anything. See, I don't know. I mean, I think I'd rather take it and have the extra weight than to not have it with me at all. I mean, that might, I don't know. I'm gonna have to make a decision. I might change my mind a million times before that we actually go too. So I'm gonna have everything. I'm gonna have a lot of stuff with me, and we'll see.
By all means, pack it in. Weigh yourself down. Wear yourself out. That's what I would do.
Oh, that's not gonna wear me out. I've taken when my daughter was little. I can't think of this like big huge Moby wrap or something. I don't know, this thing my wife had, and man, I wrapped that thing all up, figured out how to use it, tucked my daughter in there, and I was detecting with my daughter hanging in that thing, and then my son was bored, so he was making me carry him around, and I was carrying him with one arm, detecting with the other, and I had my daughter, and let me tell you, that, my friends, is a workout.
I bet.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I gotta go here real quick. So Noel asked, "What is Matt's video channel?"
Comedians, huh?
No. Let me go. I gotta do this. No, he's got tripods. At least one, I know. You probably have a monopod. Well, yeah, I know you just bought a monopod. He just bought some fancy gimbal. He's got 22 GoPros. Now, how many do you got? Well, you probably got 4 or 5.
I've got...
How many camera systems you got? 4 metal detecting.
Okay, so I've got 5.
Okay.
Maybe 6.
Okay, and how many videos have you done?
Well, I shoot some videos.
Yeah. No. Yeah, how many videos are out there?
How many
YouTube?
have I posted? 0, because
right. Here, no. Obviously, you haven't been listening. Let me fill you in. Matt is what you call a fart in a skillet. He's all over the place. Okay. Yeah. It is so much. Oh yeah. He's got a selfie stick as well. Probably a couple
I got one of those too.
He's probably got 60,000 hours of videos he shot. He's never edited anything and made a video for YouTube though, because Matt does not have the patience to sit there and do all that. The balloon video that we're talking about, he's been looking for that camera for months. He lost the camera because he's got so many. How many detectors do you have?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, maybe.
Yeah, he's got 10 detectors, 10 detectors. All he ever uses is the CTX. And I'm just and then we'll be talking, mostly. And he's like, I'm going to need an Anfibio. And I'm like, why? Why do you need, you haven't even used your multi-cruiser. I'm not sure why. Yeah, Matt's all over the place.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, I would like to plead otherwise, but it's 100% true. Part of it for me is the time when if I were to sit down and start editing video, I most people could probably just settle for mediocre. Like for me to edit a video, it's got to be 100% perfect before I'd be willing to do anything with it. And that, unfortunately for me, that's just a lot of time. I mean, little things will drive me nuts. And so I don't always get around to it. I've got hard drives full of videos that I've shot.
Noel is up in Akron area. You two need to get together because he said he's got hours of videos. He's posted one video. Barb said life is too short not to have multiple detectors. Barb, I'm with you. But if you have 10 detectors and you use one, the other 9 really aren't needed. I get what you're saying, and people like you and I, Barb, will switch out detectors, and we've got detectors for different situations. But you hide and watch. He will start off with the impact, and I give it a half an hour. He'll switch back to his CTX for fields. And look, I love a CTX. I've talked extensively about them. That is not in my top 5 for field hunting. It's not even in my top 5, and I guarantee Matt will go back to it. I guarantee it.
You're probably right, and I'm going to say I want this to be clear. It's not my top couple of detectors for field hunting either. I've tested it in fields, and I've seen how it operates, and I know, and up against the impact when I tested that in the fields, it operates a lot better. It's a better machine for fields, clearly, especially in heavy iron, and I almost guarantee you're right. I, at some point, probably will go back to it's like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like, I don't want to let my CTX 3030 down, man. He might get upset and then not perform as well other places if I don't at least, get him out there and use him. He might, old 3030 might not be happy with me, and then he'll be falsing and giving me bad signals somewhere else. So,
no,
we'll
it's that you're so hooked on it that you can't put it down. And all I'm saying is, why have 10 to 10? I'm not judging you for.
Well, no. In all honesty, the reason for the multiple detectors in my head, or the thought process, is so that I'm ready for any place that I might end up detecting as situations change. However, the
How
problem
are you going to
with
be ready if you
myself,
have no experience on your other 9 detectors?
That's the problem. The problem is I just don't spend the time putting in time with the other detectors that I need to. So,
Bill said this would all make more sense if detectors had a soul.
They might. I'm pretty sure the 3030 does. It speaks to me sometimes.
Does it? Does it speak to you?
Yeah. There's
Does
days
it tell you
when
you're ridiculous?
Me and that machine, some days we're just like, man, we're like hand in hand. We're together. It's yeah. I'm telling you, I think that thing might have a soul. I'm not sure. I don't remember the E-Track ever speaking to me like that.
Iron Ray
not like
said,
the 3030 does.
Iron Ray said AT Gold, small coil, and White's MX Sport. Him and I have talked in email a little bit about how much the Gold is overlooked or not discussed like the Pro, and I'm with him. It's been proven. It's a little deeper. I think it's a hotter little detector, and
yeah, from what I've always heard, that seems to be a very hot machine. Although I tell you, I would like to get my hands on an MX Sport too. I'd like to have one of those.
Yeah, that's what I was getting ready to say. I've heard great things.
I think that got a bad rap out of the get-go from a lot of people, and I think it's actually a great machine.
Bob McCracken said, I'm here for the Anfibio. Mike, did you test it yet? Air test, nail board test? Bob, if you were asking that seriously, you do not read my articles because I am so against board test. You will never hear or see of me doing a board test. I think they're ridiculous. No, I haven't done. Man, I've turned it on in the house just to listen to it, and I've just been too busy. And They want to hear they want to hear it. Hey, take over the show and I'll go grab it real quick. I'll let Bob hear it and he'll get all excited.
Yeah. That's
okay. Keep talking.
Yeah. So in reality, I believe that the Impact is going to have to be my go-to machine when I destroy Mike metal detecting. The sad thing is I could probably beat him even with the CTX 3030 and the lesser speed of that machine against maybe the Anfibio or Cruiser. I'm not too concerned that he's going to be able to top my metal detecting abilities. But the one thing I will say is with the Impact, you have the trigger in the backside, and for me that's huge because I'm so used to the CTX with the trigger button on the backside. So, yeah.
Okay, zip it. I'm back. So, I still got my stickers on. I haven't even taken my stickers off yet. It's got Gen A, which is general search mode. Or just Gen. I'm sorry, it's not Gen A. I probably need glasses. I'm not going to lie.
Gen A? What are you, Forrest Gump?
2-tone, 3-tone, 4-tone, 5-tone, 99-tone, beach, deep, and cache. Now, here's something I like. If any of you have used the Multi-Cruiser or Impact, you click the settings or the select button once. If you click, like let's say you're detecting and you want to change a setting or you want to change a mode, sometimes when you click the button, it'll go back to the one button goes to each one. And now, okay, I'm turning it on. I don't know if you're going to be able to hear it. Ooh, I just noticed that the buttons are... Oh, yeah, that's really cool. One of the things that I would like to see changed on it is the pinpoint button is under the settings button on the left side. I'm left-handed, so it's not a natural reach for me to hit the pinpoint button. And the Impact, I love that it has a switch. Bob said that's sexy. Man, it is, man, and it collapses. I love the shaft design. It collapses down really far. I'm really excited to use it. I'm really excited to blow Matt away. He's going to be using his big old heavy clunky 3030. And I'm going to be I think you should use your 3030 and I'll just walk behind you. Let's do that.
Okay. Well, you know what? I just thought about this. Maybe we'll have an honest head-to-head competition match, and we can see if that machine can blow the 3030 off the charts, which I don't doubt that it should, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm going to go strictly. Nah, I got to have the Impact with me too, but I might go strictly 3030 with the small. That's with the standard coil. I'll leave the 17-inch coil in my
when we're in the heavy
backpack.
When we're in the heavy iron, you might as well. That 3030 is not going to do it. It ain't going to cut it in the heavy iron. It's just not, man. Look,
yeah, we're gonna find out.
You know how I feel. I would still in a heartbeat pick an E-Tracker 3030 for coin hunting parks. In a heartbeat, but you at this point you couldn't even give me a CTX to run in the fields. They're just they can't keep up. It can't keep up. I guarantee.
I believe that.
I guarantee.
Oh, I know that. I mean, I know that for a fact because I've tried it, and
Yeah.
I tested it up against the impact, and it was a no comparison, no brainer. I mean, the 3030 it didn't perform well in that serious heavy duty iron.
Yeah.
But
That's okay. They all have their ups
think
and downs.
yeah, I mean, and once again, this all comes back to not every machine is going to be the best at everything. I mean, well, if you find one, let me know. I'll buy it. But, so obviously every machine's got its strong points. And then, so the impact, I may strictly only run the impact. I don't know. I'm sitting here looking at that box, and it's just looking awful good to me right now. I got the box hanging out in that little window on my wall here. And, it's looking like, the thing is, I know for a fact what the impact's capable of doing. And I know that the 3030 and all, but I don't care what mode you put it in. It's just not as good in super heavy duty iron. It's just fact. I mean,
I would leave it at home
if
I were you.
It doesn't process as fast.
If I were you, I'd leave it at home. And I would if you're going to bring a Mine Lab, bring an E-Track and the stock coil and a small coil. That's what I would do.
Well, here's the other thing. I got like a million badass coils for the E-Track.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Another thought was that I bring some of the bring a E-Track and some coils for it, because that might be a better option than. I might leave the 3030 at home, bring the impact and the E-Track. I don't know.
I think you'd be better off. I mean, if you got to have a Mine Lab in the field, you're good with an E-Track too. I think the CTX with a stock coil or big coil is just too much. It's just, that's not where it's meant to be. I don't know. I am so crazy excited. Noel said, Noel said leave it at home and get out there and force yourself to learn a new machine. That's the thing. Noel, it is easy. And he would have no problems with settings, programs, anything like that. He's just so into the 3030. And I get that. I've been there before. Hell, I was there with the E-Track and then the 3030 myself. So yeah, and then Bob McCracken saying 3030 is awesome, but since I've had my Equinox, I really hate to say I've not used my 3030 but once. I just talked to Noel. I just talked to Noel on the phone. I think Noel's looking to sell his.
Sell 3030?
Yeah, because he's preferring his Equinox. You might want to talk to him.
I mean, that blows my mind because I don't see how that could possibly be. That's crazy to me. I don't know. Now, granted, I've never used the Equinox, but I think for some of the features and I suppose if you don't use some of the features that the 3030 has, maybe you're not missing out on much. But
Noel said he's also got the yellow headphones, which I believe is the waterproof, and the 17-inch.
Yeah,
coil.
those are. Tell them let's work up a deal, man. Could always use another 3030.
Paul Vento said bring the Cruiser with the 7-inch coil. That's Paul, I'm gonna take the two that I'm taking back is the Anfibio and the multi-cruiser. Now I also have a Tesoro in Ohio I'm picking up, my Tesoro, my Outlaw. And so it might get a little bit of time, but another thing that's really cool is the Anfibio and the multi-cruiser use the same coils. And I've got like the 5x7, I've got the 15-inch, and then I've got that 7-inch concentric. So what I will mostly be running, is that 7-inch concentric. Yeah, exactly. So, and Steph's going to be doing some metal detecting with me, so I'll probably take that 4x8 or 4x7 or whatever it is. And, hold on, and I will get his number to you. He told me to, give you his number.
Yes.
So let me get that sent over to you. Hold on, so I don't forget. But yeah, that's so. I'm gonna have the Anfibio. I think I wouldn't be against Steph using the Anfibio, but it's a heavier detector, and I think she would probably prefer the multi anyhow. And so I'll probably, I don't know, but definitely the 7-inch coil. The 7-inch coil will go on one of them for the most part. But then I'm going to take that 15-inch, and when I'm out away from the site, I want to go into that EDU and that 15-inch coil. I bet that thing can get 22 foot.
22 foot, huh?
Yeah, maybe. Huh. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's funny. We were out. I was out detecting earlier with my buddy, and he said he found one Indian, and there's a lot of older pennies, a lot of wheat pennies and stuff in this yard, and shockingly, we didn't find. I was really shocked to not find any silver. I'm sure there's probably some there, but nevertheless, he goes, "Yeah, I found one." He said he found one Indian, and he shot me a text message. He goes, "Oh, I guess I found two. I apparently didn't look at them that well." And I'm like, "Man, I told you there was Indians out there. I mean, I found one the other day, but didn't find any silver. Found a cool little badge, though, whatever it is. Some kind of
hold on,
thing.
real quick. Old Iron Ray said a friend of his had two 30-30s sold. Now he has two Equinoxes. I missed that earlier.
So he made two bad choices, huh?
Man, everybody I'm talking to is preferring
I know people like the Equinox, but man, I would like to. I want to know. I wish I knew someone that lived close to me so I could go head to head up against them with an Equinox just to see. Because I refuse to believe that. I refuse to believe that not only can I tell you better separation or better distinguish what's down there with the 30-30, but I also truly believe that the depth gauge and response probably is more accurate on the 30-30, though I can't verify that without having tested it. And I don't know, I just feel like when it's a questionable or iffy signal, I get more information to go off of from the 30-30 than what an Equinox can present to you. And even if you're...
But hold on. Hey, quit being so close-minded, man. Try one out. You're having you're having a hard time wrapping your mind around it, but you know people are doing it left and right. Don't be closed-minded, man. That's when we start lagging and stuff. You got to try it out for yourself. And
they're doing it, but I guess I would ask the question: are they super familiar with the 30-30 and know the ins and the outs and all the stuff about that machine?
Noel is very knowledgeable on E-Track, CTX, and I believe he's pretty much just using his Equinox now for the most part. Real quick, Davey M said, "Can you do a video, Mike or Matt? Be a cool watch." Yeah, we're definitely going to do some videos. What'll happen is I will shoot minimal video. Matt will have 22 cameras going. He'll have 16,000 hours of recorded video, and we'll never see any of it. But I'm going to record some video.
Because you will see my video, and I'm going to tell you why. Because I've been talking a lot of smack, and whether I back that up or don't back it up, I would at least like to give everybody the opportunity to see what really happened. So if I come out and suck really bad and do terrible, then hey, it is what it is. I would gladly still post any video from
Bob McCracken said he did too, Matt. I said all of what you said. Now he's using the Nox. He said he hated the Nox and all the hype. Yeah. No, I'm not. I might be a little confused here, but yeah, Matt is up by Akron. He's in Massillon.
Yes.
Iron Ray said yes. My friend was killer with the 30-30 switched and hands down the Equinox. Dude, I think you've gotta you know what I don't get.
All right, I just gotta go buy. That's fine. I'm just gonna order one. I'll order one and I'll find out.
Here's what's weird to me. You are a huge, huge Mind Lab fan, and like,
yeah,
I am not giving you a hard time at all. But
I don't care.
I've watched you, like, you have so not been into the Equinox, and that really surprises me. What's that about?
Well,
when he says order it, Noel said don't order it. He'll get one from me. He better.
I'll tell you what my deal is with the Equinox.
Okay, tell me.
I fell in love with the output screen of the coordinate system with the E-Track when I first had the E-Track. And I think it's further enhanced with the target trace feature. If you go into, on the 30-30, if you go into Ferris coin mode and turn the saltwater mode on, set your parameters for go into the combined mode, stay out of the multi-tone, go into combined mode. Multi-tone worked better on the E-Track. It was heavenly on that. It's not on the 30-30. It's different enough that it doesn't sound as good.
Hold on real quick. Let me pause you. Man, the chat's moving pretty good. A lot of questions. Bob said, the Equinox doesn't have all the GPS, FECO, color screening ability to totally build programs. He said also feels so cheap. He said, but it totally bangs on coins, especially silver. Noel said he's 30 minutes from you. Try it before you buy it. He'll hook up with you. Noel's a great guy. We've talked, like he said, 7 years. I didn't know. I thought it might even be longer. Davey M said, have you seen the vid in UK through the Searcher Mag Anfibio versus Equinox? No, I haven't, Davey, and I'd be really curious to see that and what the outcome was. I thought I heard somebody tell me, or I'd seen something where the Anfibio kind of tore up the Equinox, but I can't be certain on that. And then I think, And
one other thing, Mike, is that with the 30-30, if there's a coin in the ground, when I come over it, I don't care what numbers I'm getting, I can almost tell you 9 times out of 10, it's a coin or it's not a coin. And somehow that sound just, it comes across different on that 30-30 to my ears.
Listen, man, but I don't know. But what I don't get is, you've got a multi-cruiser, an Impact, you've got an AT Pro, you're willing to try new things, and I just, it surprises me with you, as much as you're a Mind Lab fan, you're in the know. I mean, I don't know a single person who has a CTX that has bought an Equinox and hasn't spent way more time with their Equinox. Like that has to say something. Now, it's been out a while. I think that has to be your next. I'm not trying to push you into buying it, but when you are ready for your next, I think that has to be your next. I do. I think it just has to be your next.
It will definitely be my next detector, because I need to know. I mean, obviously I don't have one, so I can't speak to what it does or doesn't do compared to the 30-30, but I truly just, I find it hard to believe. Now, I will say this. If I'm looking for mid-range targets, the 30-30 is not the answer. I mean, obviously. And does it bang on a silver coin like the E-Track does? No, it's not a silver hound like the E-Track is either. But
it's close.
It's
very close.
It's comparable, but all around, I find that I am able to dig more tokens, dig more interesting things than I ever did for sure with the E-Track, but that's because a lot of I was listening for silver. But I dig a lot more interesting things. I love digging. I'll take an Indian head penny over a large cent any day. Like, I love Indian head pennies, and large cents don't excite me by any means. But
yeah, hold on real quick. Noel said the sound is way better than the numbers. And that MindLab sound, so I imagine that's
yeah,
pretty good. He said it's a great saltwater machine. I just talked to a guy in Australia who has the multi-cruiser and the 800, and his personal opinion, saltwater beaches, the 800 all day long. Inland, the multi-cruiser all day long. He said that's his preferences. He says, so I don't know. I mean, something that I want to see more of, and I'm really kind of disappointed, and I wish I was in a place I could do it. I would love to put the Anfibio or the multi-cruiser head-to-head with the 800 or the 600, I mean, whatever, or both. But I think that here in the United States, the Nocta macros just haven't hit the scene hard yet. People haven't got into it yet. And I think that they'd be really, I know some people who have had both and they prefer the multi-cruiser. And I guess ultimately it would have to be me doing it to you don't believe anything you hear and only half of what you see, but I'd really like the opportunity to try a 600, 800 and compare them and compare targets and stuff. Cause I think a lot of people are missing out, not giving the Nocta macros a chance. Iron Ray said, never heard of the Anfibio. It's Nocta Macro. Nocta Macro are the same company. They've been the same company, but they split their names. Some detectors came out Nocta, some came out Macro. Now they're combined. They've always been in the same building, same engineers, all that stuff. And the Anfibio is just out. I don't even think they're available here in the United States yet. Don't hold me to that. I know they're getting shipped and they'll be here soon. But the Anfibio is a waterproof Nocta macro detector. It's on a straight shaft. It folds down real nice. Comes with a stock DD coil. You guys know I am a huge fan of what they're doing. Not just their detectors. I think, let's say, I feel confident the multi-cruiser and the Anfibio is going to hang with the 600 and 800. I have no doubt in my mind. But let's say we want to say the 800's a better detector or whatever. With that said, Nocta Macro is by far the most innovative company. And I don't think that's disputable. I mean, they just keep pumping out these amazing new detectors. They're taking feedback to heart, and they're listening to the customers, and they're giving us what we want. They're coming out. They're working right now on a simultaneous multiple frequency detector. They announced it at Detectivall, and they said, let us know what we want your input on this detector. What do you as end users, what do you want to see on this detector? That's never been done. That's what kind of company. That is why I am such a fan. I know I sound like a broken record. There's every manufacturer out there, right? I think we're in great times because there's not a manufacturer out there that doesn't have at least a couple really great detectors. I mean, so you can, they all have some great detectors out there, but I don't think anybody is as innovative. In my opinion, I don't think anybody's even close. They are Noel said, Mike, they need to slow down production on new systems, though. Let people enjoy what they bought for a couple years before making such a big purchase obsolete. Noel, I love that you said that, and here's why. For years, so many of us have been so tired of waiting around for a manufacturer 5 years, 5 years, and for new technology, and it comes out, and most of the time it's a disappointment. We've got some of the manufacturers coming out with teasing us with this new detector. It comes out and it's got a few letters added to the end, and it's the same detector. Look, I don't. You buy a multi-cruiser, it's not, the Anfibio doesn't make that detector obsolete. And that's the thing. What I don't get when they announced the Anfibio, like, even though it was overseas, I had people reaching out to me like, man, I can't believe they're doing another one. I just bought my multi-cruiser, and I'm like, oh my God, 6 months ago you were screaming that companies, I've known you for 10 years. In the last 10 years, you've been aggravated at the manufacturers for not developing new stuff quick enough. He said innovation is fun and exciting, but I lost interest in cell phones because they pump out a new one every year. Same thing. I mean, okay, I don't know what iPhone they're up to, but I've got like a 5 something. It still works great. I don't have the money to do it, and it's not where I would want to put my money anyhow, but it works fine. I don't need the brand new latest and greatest, and mine will do 90% of what that one will do. So, yeah, I just don't get that mentality now, because I've listened to so many people over the years like, they just released this detector. I was all pumped up about it. It's the same detector they released 5 years ago, and now they just added a couple letters to the end. What a disappointment. I hear that stuff all the time, and here comes Nocta Macro knocking it out of the park left and right. I just seen a post a few weeks ago on Facebook. I don't know what group. Some guy was complaining that, he'd bought a multi-cruiser. Now they're coming out with the Anfibio. Well, there's a couple $100 price difference between them to begin with. Okay. Kind of different models, so it's not like they came out with two of the same price range. The other one they announced at the same time is going to be the entry level price range. So anyhow, I saw this post and somebody said, I just bought the multi-cruiser. Now they announced the Anfibio and this and that. And, some people were talking about, like obsolete. I hate that word. Because it doesn't make your detector obsolete. And we're talking, I think there's roughly $250 price difference between an Anfibio and a multi-cruiser. But somebody chimed in. He's like kind of making fun of those guys in a nice way, but he's like, you guys need to calm down. I'm still using my Racer 2 and love it. This doesn't make my Racer 2 obsolete, just like the multi-cruiser didn't make it obsolete. You guys need to calm down. And I don't know. I'm really shocked at so many of the responses, because a lot of these people I've known for years, and they're the ones screaming, I'm tired of this same technology and this, we're waiting around for this, and there's not been any real updates and stuff. So, yeah, I mean, Iron Ray says one of the best detectorists I know uses a 7-year-old White. Right. Doesn't, just because White's comes out with a new one, or, somebody else comes out with a new one, they're all making some pretty darn good detectors. I think Matt just fell asleep. He's in the chat. He's like, Mike's on one of one of his
and
rants.
Mike's on one of his rants. No,
Yeah.
no, Mike, I agree with you. I mean, I think that just because a company pumps out multiple machines doesn't make any of them obsolete. You know, and they have different price ranges too. I think they're just covering a larger array of potential customers and users for the product. So, you know, I don't have a problem with that at all. I think it's a good marketing strategy. You know, because if they just have one or two detectors and you look and you think, you know, this isn't exactly what I was looking for, and then maybe you switch and go a different route altogether. So, you know, the more options and possibilities you have, I think is always a good idea. You know, and the thing is that nothing they're putting out is garbage. So if they were putting out something, okay, I'm just going to throw. There was the MindLab Go Finds. Okay, it was a joke of a detector to start with, and I'm a MindLab guy, and I'll even say that was terrible. You know, they really hyped that thing up to be something that it wasn't, and you know. I don't want to say it's garbage, but it's pretty much garbage. So, you know, I mean, I'm going to call it like it is. So, you know, if they were doing that, it'd be a different story, but that's not the case. You know, they're putting out quality detectors in a variety of price ranges with some different options. And it definitely seems like they do listen to what people are saying and what requests and what type of stuff they'd like to have in a detector, and integrating that into their equipment. So I'm all for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too, man. I'm excited. I think to me right now it's really exciting times, and I'm going to be real honest with you. 95% of that is because of Nocta Macro to me. What's next? What are they going to do next, man? These guys are on fire. Noel said used AT Pro way better than GoFind. Yeah, man, nobody ever talks about the GoFinds. I've never heard anything good. I hate that this new the new Simplex that's coming out from Nocta Macro. I've seen some people compare it. They'll say, you know, why they don't say, yeah, it's going to be their new entry level machine. What they're saying is, yeah, it's reminding them of the GoFind. And I'm telling you what I know of Nocta Macro. And I could be wrong. I haven't had one in my hands, but what I know of the company and how much they care and how much pride they take in what they're doing, if that doesn't take over the entry price range, they did something wrong. Waterproof. It's going to have double D coils, straight. It is a sharp looking detector all day long, and super lightweight. Matter of fact, I just did a show with Dealic a couple weeks ago for the UK podcast, which I do Thursdays, 8 p.m. GMT time, which is 2 Central. And I know that's UK, but you guys are missing out if you don't listen to those or download them for later. We have had some awesome guests, some great conversations. Anyhow, Dealic said, I forget what I was going to say about Dealic, what she was saying. I just completely went blank. But, yeah, I don't know. Help me out, Matt. Where was I going with this?
You were going to say that Dealic, is it Dialec or Dealic? I thought it was Dialec.
It's Dealic.
It is Dealic? All right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know, but I can say this. There's nothing that they're going to put out that's going to be remotely the pile of poop that the GoFind was at the price that they charged for the GoFinds. I mean, I don't even know that there's any machines that are really as garbage as what that was. that thing was terrible. Well, it is terrible. I have one. I bought one for my son, and because I thought it would be easy for him to use. But his cheap Radio Shack detector that he had prior to that probably worked just about as good.
That's a shame. I just don't think Noctamac. Oh, I know what I was going to say. If you get a chance, go out and see if you can find pictures of the Simplex. It looks super lightweight, super cut down, and they're talking about doing that's the same platform they're going to use. As of right now, that's the same platform they're going to use for their new. She has no idea when it'll be out yet, no clue. But that's the same platform they're going to use for this new simultaneous multiple frequency detector, and that's how sharp it is. It's a very cool looking detector. Noel said she gave out her email.
I want to say something real quick. Paul said that the Go Find is a kid's detector. Now, yes, I would agree to that, and yeah, it's not a relic machine. Okay, I said it, Bob. There you go. But no, he said it's a kid's detector. Yeah, I agree. And I had bought the one that I got for my son, and it's not what they hyped up and really advertised when that came out. Yes, it is cool. It does fold up and it's compact. You can slide that thing in a tiny backpack or a beach bag, and your kids can go out and have some fun. But I find that for the lack of it doesn't work that well. Maybe it's the one I have. I don't know, but it was very disappointing. I was hoping that even for a kid's detector, I'd like to see something that's not only simple, easy to use, but that is actually functional and works well. At the kind of price ranges that they charge for that, is it better than other stuff I've seen? Sure. But, I was just disappointed all the way around, and, it fell off real quick off of the, being something that they were really pushing and happy to put in their arsenals. And I just think for the price that they were charging, it just wasn't ever the answer. I mean, I don't think it was a great product, and I think you can see that by the way it's no one even talks about it anymore. So, I'd be interested to really see what with Nocta Macro and some of the other stuff that they have and come out with. I think that regardless of what price range it's in, it's going to be at least quality equipment, and you're not going to get junk.
I want to say. Me and Noel had a conversation earlier today about concentric versus double D and on starter machines, and we kind of differ on this. He doesn't like a concentric coil on a starter detector, and I disagree. And here's why: like you take the Fisher F22, and it's got that weird teardrop coil, but you can take that thing to a park. Now, keep in mind, Noel, you're not. At under $300, you're that detector. Those detectors aren't made to get 8 inches on a dime that's surrounded by junk. But what you can do with that is you can go to a park and you can sneak out some coins, even in the trash, man. We got a really trashy park. The girls used the F22 and they loved it. They were finding coins left and right, but you can take that thing out in the field. I love the F22. I think that's a great detector. I think Fisher and Technetics. I think if you're looking at the entry level to the mid level, I think they have some really great stuff. I think if you get into the T2 and F75, I think they're good detectors. Don't get me wrong. I think they're hard to learn and it's old technology. I mean, it's all old technology. I mean, they're not offering anything multiple frequency, any of that kind of stuff yet. But I think, you get into some of their entry level and up there. They've got some great detectors. That F22 is a hot little detector, and it's got the iron volume.
That's the one you had out that time we were out, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that thing actually, I was I was impressed. I will say that. I was looking at it like, wow, this is, he's really even going to take the time to test this and play with this. And I was shocked, actually. It seemed to work very well. Did a good job.
Bob said he's thirsty. Relic machine. Relic machine. I love a good relic machine. How about that? Noel says, but a Tesoro is the same price, lighter, and a good kids detector. And the compadre, look, Noel, here's what I would say. If you're going to just field hunt, I personally, I would pick a Tesoro, a compadre, over the Fishers. If you want, and most people do, they want to do some park hunting and different things, I would say get something like the F-22. The sad reality of the Tesoro, although, heck, I'll be honest with you, I would take a compadre over a lot of much more expensive detectors for field hunting. But to me, a single tone detector in a trashy place just doesn't cut it. It's not going to cut it for me. Yeah, so I don't know. I like concentrics. I think they're easier to pinpoint, and that's kind of important to start off with. You can always upgrade coils. A concentric, to me, I'm gonna pick a concentric field hunting every time, and heavy iron. I think a concentric works in the iron better. That's my opinion. I'm really excited to use that 7-inch on the Anfibio or the multi-cruiser. Yeah, Noel said, I don't doubt that I did have my Ace 250, but my Bios 350 and DD coil was kicking my butt. Yeah, I think in most situations, I think for parks and schools, a double D is better overall, but, a concentric pinpoint's better for somebody newer and, entry-level price. That's where they're going to go. And, again, like if you want a good little a really affordable relic detector, go pick up an F-22. I'm telling you, you'll slay it out in the fields in that iron. Turn down your iron volume to 11 so you barely hear the iron. You'll still know when you're in iron, and you'll go pick stuff out of that iron really good. Now, if all you want to do is relic hunt, I would say pick up a compadre or similar price as the Mojave. There's no doubt in my mind it would probably be a better choice for. Man, I love some. There's something about what technology is that? It's not digital or not analog. I love just something about analog and how it works through the iron. For sure.
Yeah, analogs. Analog, I mean, in general, is great because it doesn't have to go through a million filters to give you the output. So obviously it has some potential advantages over anything digital. But I'm a DD coil myself. I'm not a big fan of concentric coils. However, I think in a field, concentric coils can be a lot more deadly.
Here's something else. Here's a couple things I want to touch on. Iron Ray said, "Ooh, how about the Nocta Macro Invenio being $10,000?" Ray, that is what that detector is about. Is we talked about that with her on the UK show, and they did not make that for the hobbyist, but one of their goals is to bring something similar like that to the hobbyist at an affordable price. What that's for is the professional. That's for the archaeologist. That's for people who need to look into the ground for probably, pipes and different things like that. But that's targeting the professional side of things. But they do want to, they hope to someday put that in that kind of same technology into the hands of us hobbyists. Now, another thing I want to say is talking about Nocta Macro listening to their customers. They had people saying, "Hey, we want a concentric coil. We want a concentric coil," and was getting a hold of Delic. And Delic went to her engineers and said, "We need a concentric coil." And so they made a concentric coil, and she said it's one of their hottest selling coils. So I'm not alone in being one of those people that love a concentric coil. And if I remember correctly, I think they've now, because there's like 6 or 7 coils are going to be available for the Anfibio. And I believe they added the 9-inch concentric. So they're going to have a 7 and a 9-inch concentric. And, that's what I love about this company. Not only are they pumping out some really good detectors, but they listen. And if they keep going the way they are, you hide and watch. I keep telling people this. They're going to be huge. Everybody here in the United States is going to be talking about them. Like, I think it's such a tragedy that you barely hear about them right now. I do. I think they're working hard to, to do the right thing and listen to their users and stuff, and people in the United States. I just see, and I've been there. I'm not judging, but we get so close-minded. We all, people will jump onto one thing. I know now, like, I think 4 or 5 people who have had both the multi-cruiser and the 800 that have sold off their multi-cruiser, or I'm sorry, sold off their 800s. I can't compare them. I haven't used one. I don't know. But that's, Noel says, yeah, huge complaint about Minelab's slow release on Equinox accessories and harsh pricing. Okay, here's a good one for you. When Nocta Macro released the multi-cruiser, people were having trouble with the arm cuff. It was loosening up. There was only one bolt hole. Mine doesn't loosen up. I haven't had an issue but they quickly fixed that. When issues come up, and every manufacturer has those issues come up, they jump on it. They've been known for that. The accessories. Here's another reason that the 600 and 800 are a turnoff to me. The coils. You're going to be able to get 3 coils, and that's it. The multi-cruiser, for example, I believe it has 5 coils available through Nocta Macro. 5 or 6. I think 5. Mars is making coils. I don't know if... Oh, what's the other big one? Nell. Nell is supposed to be making coils. I don't know if they're out yet. Oh my God, you could get any imaginable coil you want for that detector at an affordable price. You guys are going to way overpay for those coils for your Minelabs. And that's another turnoff to me. I think Minelab makes great detectors. I talk them up, and I'm also harsh on manufacturers. Even manufacturers I like, or I think they're doing good things, but I think that's greedy of Minelab. I hate that they do that. I am a coil guy. I want to switch coils. You really need the option of coils for all your different needs. And then you guys had to sit around and wait how long to get a coil? That's ridiculous to me. That's ridiculous. I don't know. Hey, I'm not putting Minelab down for everything. There's no doubt that the Equinox is an absolutely fantastic machine. But somebody's got to do it. I mean, I'm not just going to sit here, I guess, and just like, oh, everything's great. I'm sure MindLab does not like me, and I'm okay with that. Hey, I see some faults. I'm gonna call them out. I've been hard on Garrett, and I think Garrett's doing great. I mean, there's no doubt with the AT Pro, they hit it out of the ballpark. The Max, I've been a little bit hard on them, but I will say, after talking to not just Gypsy, but now several people, I think the Max, I think its biggest problem is this. I think a lot of people got into the hobby with AT Pros. That's all they've used. And then the Max comes out and it's a different beast, and they're having trouble running it. So there's getting some bad feedback on the Max. Gypsy is out there every day, every couple days. She's mastering the Max and she's loving it. And she's seeing a big improvement over the AT Pro. And if you've ever used an AT Pro, it's a heck of a detector. So, I can be hard on them, but I can also praise them when I see good things. And I think, there's no doubt, I don't have to use one to know MindLab hit it out of the park with the 600 and 800, and good for them. But why are you being stingy with coils? Why are you being greedy like that? Why are you still at the 50 VDI? Oh my God, the Rudis. Matt will tell you this. The Rudis Alder 71, 120 VDI, and the separation is ridiculous.
And it separates ridiculously. Like, it uses, I mean, and iron's only like, hell, that's a fraction of that 120. I mean, it's a small fraction. The Rudis separates something seriously ridiculous. And no doubt that if you wanted to go let's say if you went to a park and you spent the time, check a few signals, see where they're falling, and I guarantee that you could pretty much say, yes, that's a beaver tail, that's a big fat pull tab, that's a newer style pull tab, that's this, that's that, it's Canslaw, and on and on and on, because it rings them all up slightly different. And once you got used to using that machine, man, you should have no problem just killing it with that thing.
Yeah, that's a really good detector. I can't wait until they get something here in the United States. Yeah, there's been a lot of issues with the Equinox shafts. I've heard a lot of shaft issues, and depth. I guess the depth gauge is worthless, is what I'm hearing. Maybe I'm wrong. And I've heard people say it's not a very deep detector. I don't know. I'd be curious. I know we got at least 3 people in the room that use it. What are you guys finding on depth? I can tell you this: my multi-cruiser, with the gain turned up, but still running stable as can be, I can hit my dime in my little test bed. I got 3 dimes. That's all I do. I don't really report on my test garden, but it is a nice thing to kind of run a new detector over and see, and I can hit that 10-inch dime, no problem, running a stable gain. And on the Equinox, or on the Anfibio and the multi-cruiser, the gain is your sensitivity. Yeah.
Dude, Mike, I'm just going to have to buy an Equinox real soon here, and I'm going to have to do it and just do my own test. I think you do, man. I
think that's got to be your next. I'm not saying you got to buy one soon or anything, but I think that's got to be your next. I do. You're a MindLab guy. People talk that Knox up so big. I think that's got to be your next detector, man. I do.
Yeah, I just, so many people keep saying that that they're switching from the 30-30 to the Knox. I mean, there must be something to that. But then again, it makes me wonder. I don't know. I just feel like I'm super in tune with the 30-30, and I don't know. I have to wonder though. I mean, obviously, if people are switching, there must be something there. I just find it hard to believe.
Noel said again. He said, "Come up and see him. He'll let you use his."
Yeah, me and him are going to talk shortly after this. Did you send me his phone number?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna call him because I'd like to talk. I'd like to try it out, and I'd like to. I just gotta get my hands on one. It's just an opportunity I haven't had, and I had it. I could have bought one, but if I buy, I just can't tell my wife if I buy any more detectors right now because, that wouldn't be good. And she wouldn't be happy with me. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I'd like to take it to. I'd like to go out somewhere and just do like a straight out head-to-head competition, or not even competition, just straight up like someone come across the target and they say, "Oh yeah, this sounds good with the Knox. Let me run over it with the 30-30. Let me run over it with the Knox and see what and see." But I don't know. I just, and the other thing to me, I mean, I feel like the 30-30's built like a tank.
Yeah, like a 22-pound tank that you're swinging around, man. Like,
yeah, and I love that. I do love that. I mean, I'm willing to sacrifice extra weight for something that I can feel is built very strong. And now I will say though, the impact.
Hey, real quick.
Is
Real quick, he said don't call him tonight. He's available 9 to 11 tomorrow and 5:30 to 6 p.m. He said Wednesdays are busy.
All right. I will call him at 9 a.m.
Right. Matt's going to stay up all night just to call you.
I probably will.
I'll be honest. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I interrupted you.
No, I'm just saying, like the impact in the Cruiser. I have no problems with either of those. In fact, the impact I feel is very stout and robust as well. I'm hard on equipment, and I'm worried that I hear some things about the shaft with the Knox and this and that and the other, and I just I don't know. Does it have the same feel and quality to it, that I've expected?
I don't think it does. I don't know. No, I don't think it does. But I think the technology's there. I mean, you can buy an aftermarket.
The technology may be there, and will it do the job? Yeah, I'm sure. But I don't know. This is going to have me up all night thinking about this because I'm going to end up just stewing on it all night long, and I'm not going to be able to sleep. I already know it.
So I'm gonna go into this for a minute while I'm being all truthful and in a mood. And what brings this up, Noel said in chat, he said that, I used to really be an E-Track user and talk really highly of them and stuff. Well, let me see what he said. Let me go back up there to it. If I can find it. That was Mike loved the E-Track when it was the flagship and was an evangelist for it way back when. And that's true. Let me tell you my MindLab experience, and maybe this will make a little more sense to you guys. So when I became a MindLab dealer way back, they were still in Arizona. And you want to talk about a joke. It was crazy unprofessional. It took me months to become a couple months to become a dealer. The lady who it was one lady and a guy. Finally, she told me, she's like, Mike, I'm sorry he didn't get back with you. And I'm like, you got a guy with a chunk of money here ready to become a dealer. What's going on? Mike, he's at the bar all the time. So, yeah. Then they moved to the Chicago area. And man, did things change. Things went really good. I mean, but you couldn't get detectors. I had people, and here's the thing, we'll have detectors out to you in 2 weeks. I had people on back order constantly. And then 2 weeks would roll around and nothing. And then a month. And, I had people like mad at me. I don't blame them. I'm not giving them, I understand if I tell you 2 weeks, but I never told somebody 2 weeks on my own. It's because that's what MindLab was telling me. Then why, I don't know. They decided, you're going to have to go through a distributor now. MindLab's no longer going to handle that. They've been through some major regime changes. So, I quit selling detectors, and here was why. I sold I made a living. Now keep in mind, my house payment was low. My truck was paid for. My wife worked, but I made a living off of selling MindLabs. They were probably 95% of my business. And I did pretty good. And MindLab come out and they said, hey, we're going to do tier pricing. Depending on how much you sell, you're going to either go in 1, 2, or 3. I fell in 2, and now I am buying my MindLabs. My cost is what the big guys are selling them for to the customer. And that was the end. That was the end of me. And stupid me for putting so much into MindLab and standing behind. I feel like I was one of the guys there in the beginning who helped get their name out. I mean, you look at Ohio before me, and you look at what Ohio turned into, and it was because they had a great product. Don't get me wrong. But how quickly they forgot about us. That's what I felt like. How quickly they forgot about us. Us little guys that were in the trenches, taking guys out, showing them how to use their detectors, taking phone calls, doing videos. I did videos back then showing the different settings, how to set up the E-Track. So that hurt. Then, eventually they quit doing repairs. Most of the repairs were going to the great big company that sells detectors. There were a lot of issues. A lot of people I know of. Now they're with another dealer. I think that's always going to be a slap in the face to dealers. When you got to send detectors into repair, you got to send your customers to another dealer for repairs. I think that's just, I don't think it's professional. I don't like it. It was a mess. And then, I got out of it for a while. I got out of selling, obviously, and I kind of withdrew from everything. I still was detecting. I got back into it hardcore, and man, I've found my passion again. I've had over 40 articles published in different metal detector magazines, and I didn't want to do that anymore. I wanted to write for myself. I wanted to be able to write honest about, first off, I wanted to do reviews. I wanted to, all that. And, so I got back into it heavy again. And with the passion I had 20 years ago, 10 years ago, before everything happened. And, I called MindLab, and they just announced the Equinox. And look, I know I'm nothing special. I wasn't even asking for an Equinox, but I contacted them about, hey, what would be the chance of me borrowing detectors every now and then and testing them, writing about them and stuff. And I'm going to say it, and I'm going to be real honest here. The lady was an asshole. She was rude. She was arrogant. And I just thought, okay, so I mean, I feel like over the years they just, just beat me down in ways, and I let it go. And I said, okay, I never asked him to give me anything. Hey, what would be the chance to, and one of the things she said right away, and she said it so smug. Well, I'll tell you this, you're not getting an Equinox to test. And I just felt like, well, okay, why don't you just punch me in the face? Like, I didn't even ask, I didn't even bring up the Equinox. They had just announced it. I know I don't get 100,000 hits, 200,000 hits a month. I know they're not, even to borrow and that soon, that's not even an opportunity yet. I could see after it's been out a few months, maybe. It's not what I was getting at. Then, over the years, I've forgiven so much because they make good detectors. And they do. I won't put down their technology. I mean, I can sit here and say there's things about the Equinox without having one that I don't like. But there's no doubt in my mind they're killer detectors. But then I got a hold of them, and this was my last contact with them, and I'm done. I'm telling you, I am done. Hey, I'd like to do. I guarantee I did this like days after it was announced. I think it was the same time I talked about a metal detector. Borrowing different detectors to use. Like I wanted to try, I hadn't heard about the GoFind so much. And I thought that was a cool looking detector. A good starter machine maybe. That's what I called about. I wanted to try their GoFinds. It wasn't until later that I've heard so many bad things. Well, I talked to them about doing the podcast. And they're like, yeah, the person you need to get a hold of, they're out. Here's her number, her email. I called, I messaged, I this and that. Yeah, I'm busy, but when I get back and blah, blah. Well, then they went and did somebody else's podcast. Now, I promise you, I reached out earlier. I promise you I was diligent about it. And that to me was the last straw. I don't care. I don't, hey, I'm speaking the truth, so to this day, I don't trash their detectors, but I don't want anything to do with them. And I'm tired of those companies. I'm tired of these manufacturers just treating some of us like crap, not taking care of customer service issues, they don't care. I kind of had the same falling out with whites. I wrote an article about all this and I'm done. With that kind of attitude, I don't want to deal with that kind of stuff. So when I see Nocta and Macro doing some really innovative things, when I see them caring and taking care of customers and doing the right thing and trying to do the right thing and they care, that's huge to me. Of course I've got to like their detectors. I don't care. I don't care if they're the nicest company out there. If their technology doesn't float my boat, I wouldn't talk so highly of them. To me, they're just right now, without a doubt, they're the company. They are the ones that just on every level do it for me. And that's why I talk about them so much. And I apologize. I know I rant. Matt's probably back asleep. Who knows? But that's where I'm at. I mean, it's not just the technology that makes a great detector. It's, anymore to me, it's, I got so tired over the years, people calling me up wanting an E-Track CTX, even Explorer and saying, I heard this bad thing, I heard that bad thing. Yeah, they're having some, they're having some growing pains and stuff, but, they make great detectors. I got tired of using that excuse and then feeling beat down by them. And so I'm really happy to see a company come along and do this. When I first reached out to Nocta Macro, I asked Delic about borrowing a detector, to try. And I told her the reason why I'd like to talk about it, write articles, do a review. And I said, I'll be honest with you, I'm not real familiar with your detectors. And she wrote me back, and here's the most incredible thing that happened with that. She wrote me back and she said, can you take a phone call soon? And I said, yeah, absolutely. It was a couple days went by. She called me and she said, I think it might have been, I'm trying to think. I don't remember if I think I've got it in email. But anyhow, she called and she said, Mike, we'll send you out a detector. Here's what we want. We want you to write honestly. That's all we ask. She said, if you have problems with the detector, there's things you don't like. She said, the only thing we ask is you run it by me first so I can ensure that you understand it right. If you're having a problem, maybe there's a setting or something. And she said, other than that, she's like, if it's not a setting issue or something and you don't like it, we want you to be honest. She said that's so important. We don't want people writing, doing videos and not being honest. We'd rather have a bad review than, and I'm just like, oh my God, I've reached out to a couple companies and I've had to walk away because they want me to sign a release form that I won't write anything negative, and I won't do that. And then you've got Nocta Macro saying, it's really important to us that you write honest, good or bad. And that's amazing to me. I got to stop all this. I know I'm on a rant. Matt, take over. Talk too long.
All right. So on a side note, I'm going to post this picture on All Metal Mode on the Facebook page. It's some kind of spiky thing I found. I'd like if anybody can identify what the heck this thing is. It's like a spike of some sort. It's made out of pure copper, according to what's stamped in the side of it. And it's got a threaded end on the. I believe, to me, it looks like it's a piece of a lightning rod of some sort. But I don't know. I found it at a house that was early 1800s a few years back, and I was going to use it I was going to modify it and use it for a stake that comes off my monopod for my camera. And Mike talked me out of it.
Yeah, I did.
He said, maybe. Yeah, he did. And after I thought about it, I'm like, better not, because I really don't know what this thing is. It's cool. It's got a cool green patina on it. And it's, I don't know, it's an interesting piece, but I've never been able to exactly identify what it truly is. And so I'm going to post that there. And I don't know. I find a lot of interesting things that I should post more often, and sometimes I don't get around to it. And oh man, I'm just thinking impact is going to be the. I think the impact's going to be my weapon of choice.
You think?
I don't think there's. Because truly, and all joking and BS aside, I know what the 3030 is capable of, and I know that the impact is a better machine in heavy iron. And that's for me. That's just fact. If it were a park, a house site, or a lot of other stuff, a normal place, like I'd go 30-30 all day long. But I can't in good conscience go out there with a 30-30 and after running my mouth and truly expect a miracle to happen. It's just not. It's not realistic. So I'll probably bring the 30-30, but I'm gonna have the impact, I think, out from the get go, and probably not gonna switch to the 30-30 unless I start getting outside of some iron areas and it's a little less hectic. Then maybe I'll pop that out of my backpack, because the nice thing, and what intrigues me with that Anfibio is that picture you sent me. That thing folds up or collapses better, super small, and it reminds me a lot of the 3030 because it gets pretty small compared to some of the other detectors I have. And so that'd be a cool detector to have because that thing would fit perfect, like hanging in my backpack, be right with me. And so that's something I really like the how that collapses down. That's one thing that's one reason I tell you that's one reason I take the 3030 a lot of places because it just fits in my trunk, or not my trunk, but the back of my vehicle so well that. Even with the big coil on there, I mean, it collapses down so small that it's just perfect for me. And, if I'm being 100% honest, I'm going to use the Impact when we're out there. That's going to be my go-to machine. The 3030 is going to be on standby, but, like I said, I truly, I know from testing it myself in heavy iron, it's not the answer. So I got to run to the Impact. Now, if it's raining, see, that's the other thing. Now, if it's raining, then obviously I'm going to have to bring the Cruiser. Well, I'm going to bring the Cruiser anyway, but I plan to go to the Impact, especially just because I love having the trigger on the backside. That doesn't bother me being left-handed to reach over to the pinpoint button on the Cruiser so much. That's not a deal breaker for me by any means, but I think the Impact, plus I have a pile of different coils for that. I got some multiple coils. So that'll make a huge difference for me.
Oh, excuse me. Yeah, we've had talks, man. I think this. I mean, still, I love the Nocta macros, but I have yet to find anything, including the Nocta macros, that can find silver like the E-Track and CTX. That man, they just sniff it out.
There's no doubt they just
the tone.
Mean, it's like it's like a pig hunting truffles, man. I mean, it's insane. Like it's just they're so good at that. I mean, they're just killer on that on silver. That comes all back to full circle. Is it great for silver? Absolutely. Is it great in heavy duty, crazy ironed out places? No, not really. Not so much.
Right.
And as much as I don't practice what I preach, I mean, my thought process with all of having a pile of different detectors is to have stuff available for, different types of scenarios, even though, and I'm guilty 100%. I get so stuck in using that 3030 and wanting to take that out. And where what I should have done most of the summer, instead of going out trying to find silver coins, and I think and it was dry for, super dry for a couple of weeks, a month or two there, where I had to buy some go-karts to pass the time because it was just too dry to detect. I mean, I should have been at least out playing with, the Cruiser, the Impact, or the Rudis, especially. I should have been hitting some spots with that where it wouldn't have mattered because it was dry. I mean, it's what I should have done. Instead, I opted to go track down more silver, and I think I lost count. I only ended up so far this year with I'm less than 70 silver coins. It's like 60 something, which is disappointing.
Greg Weems said, I didn't have any problem finding silver last weekend with the Racer too. Of course not, Greg. I mean, they are great detectors on silver too, but until you've used something like the E-Track or CTX, Matt put it perfect. It's like a hog finding truffles, man. That thing just sniffs out the silver like nothing you've ever seen. That doesn't mean that the Nocta macros aren't good at it and some of the other detectors. Oh, yeah. But I mean, look, I might be wrong. I'm not an expert, but I'm going to say I think if you want the best detector out there for deep silver and iron trash, that kind of stuff. Maybe not iron, and trash though. I think you're looking at Mine Lab. Now, personally, I haven't found a better relic detector in heavy iron, like field hunting Ohio, than the Nocta Macros, and that even the Tesoros that I love. The two things that really set them apart for me is, two things really. Number one, the Nocta Macros, they handle the iron more like a what are Tesoros again? I'm getting tired. Analog. They handle it more like an analog somehow, I feel. Like they were made to work in the iron. And the ability to adjust the volume on your iron. When you're in a place where, a house site was there in 1870, it was gone by 1880, you're going to find that the iron debris field is overwhelming to most detectors. And most options with most detectors, you got to listen to the iron. If you discriminate out iron, you're slowing the detector down. You really got to run wide open. You do. And the ability to turn down that iron and not have to listen to it full blast or even turning it off. You're still running wide open. It's just the detector saying he doesn't want to listen to these signals. That is brilliant to me. Those two things are what really separate it apart. I mean, Matt, when you and I got together, I brought some coils I wanted to try on the Impact, the smaller coils, and I never even got around to it. I ended up running the stock 11-inch coil, and it ran good everywhere in all that iron. And
one thing that's super awesome about that is when you're, especially like if you're out and you get into the iron debris, I mean, there's no mystery as to, like a lot of times if I'm out at a park or something like that, and I very rarely discriminate out anything. I leave it wide open, and then I set the volume gain such that I can hear, if there's some deeper iron down in there, and kind of where that iron's sitting, how deep it is in the ground. But when you're in a field like that,
hey Matt,
there's no mystery.
You're cutting out, buddy.
What?
Yeah, you're cutting out. Yeah. I don't know if they can hear it on the show, but I wanna address this. And Paul Vento asked, does a silver dime sound different than a clad dime? If you're talking about Mine Lab, here's what I would say. On an E-Track, yes, the CTX kind of lost some of that. It's still good.
The
it's
CTX
still killer.
Lost a lot of it. It's good, but I could say 95% chance with every time. When I went over a silver coin on the E-Track, I could tell you it was silver. No, there was almost no doubt in my mind. Can I do that on the 3030? No. But
I'll say this, Paul. I dug hundreds of silver coins with an E-Track, okay? And I knew a guy up in Columbus that dug hundreds a year. He was out almost every day. He would get into like rows of houses. He also worked, what he did, I think, is if I remember right, he tore down, he worked somewhere where they would tear down houses, and especially like big neighborhoods. So he had the run of all these great places. And him and I were talking one time, and he said he could tell the difference between clad and silver. And I'd already found hundreds of silver coins with the E-Track. And I thought he was crazy. Well, I was out with somebody one day that had an E-Track, and we were discussing it. And I said, I've never heard a difference. I've never, and he said, yeah, me neither. We threw I believe we threw a silver dime and a clad dime down. And I could run, and I think it's more of a, yes, you can. What I'm getting at is, yes, you can hear the difference. The thing is you're hearing good enough for it, because I'm running over the clad and then the silver, and I thought I could hear a difference. And what I did, I closed my eyes and just listened. And I am telling you, there was a slight difference between that silver, but I don't think my eyes are tuned to it. If I remember right, he's also a musician. And I don't know, I don't think we've ever talked about it on the show, but musicians tend to have exceptional hearing, and they can hear those little nuances and stuff. But you can, yeah, if you've got good headphones and good hearing, and you can differentiate well enough, absolutely, you can tell. And that all kind of clicked.
Mike, let me say this real quick.
Go ahead.
Let me say this real quick. I want to throw out there that, yes, I could tell the difference between a silver and clad almost every time. But the bottom line is, unless I was straight cherry picking a site, because I didn't have time to detect it, I'm going to dig those other ones anyhow. So, yeah, it was great. Yeah, it was cool. But I'm going to dig all those other targets anyhow. They still sound good enough to dig, I mean, that I would.
Well,
because,
but
it may.
But if you've got, but here's the thing. If you're hunting a yard and clad and silver's at 2 inches and you can hear the difference, and it's loaded with clad, if you're at a fairgrounds or a park and silver is intermingled, or, dirt's been moved around, that is how good the E-Track is. It is.
Yeah, it made a huge difference.
It is amazing. And that's why I say it's, to me, and I haven't used everything, there's probably no better silver detector. The silver magnet, nothing will pick up silver coins that I'm aware of like the E-Track. Now, I'm kind of curious about the Equinox. Noel tonight was saying how good, it's more on the sounds than the tones. And that's another thing. The numbers are steady on that E-Track. You hit a dime. Let's just say a dime. It could be silver clad. Man, that thing, in 99% of the time, depending on ground conditions and settings and stuff, that thing's going to hit a 45 all day long, isn't it, Matt?
All day long. Yes,
just
sir.
won't,
all day long.
Won't. And you'll have these steady numbers. And even at depth, VLF detectors are real prone to losing the VDI at depth, and not the E-Track. Man, you can hit a dime at 10 inches, and unless it's surrounded by junk and I mean, in most situations, 10 inches you're gonna hear that dime, and it's gonna read a 45. So it's pretty amazing for that kind of stuff. But then on the downside, you got to swing that thing at a snail's pace. It is.
You got to crawl, man.
I guarantee, if you get out 3-4 times a week and you use it for a year, you're going to have shoulder issues. I don't know a single person who has swung an E-Track for a good amount of time that doesn't have shoulder issues. Iron Ray says he can absolutely tell silver from clad on my AT Gold. I'll tell you what. Now, I've never hunted with anybody with the gold, but I hunting with Scott down in Lancaster. Man, those AT Pros are amazing. Many times I seen him pull out some good stuff. Many times I hit deep silver with the E-Track, oftentimes masked, and I would call him over, and that AT Pro would hit him. That is a heck of a detector. I'll tell you what, I think an AT Pro would find 98% of what an E-Track would, or CTX. I do. What do you think?
Yeah, I'd say, I'd say 90, at least probably 90%.
You think 90 a little lower?
Now one thing I do want to say too is that, I was really hoping that I would find a lot more coins at serious depth out there that I may have missed over the years. And after going back through a lot of places that I've hunted really hard, did I find some silver that was way down there? Absolutely. But was it near as much as I was thinking might possibly seem to be down there? No. I mean, it seems few and far between. So in cases, yeah, I have dug some ridiculously deep stuff with the 30-30 with that big coil, as far as silver goes. But for the amount that I found it at incredible depths, did it really? Was it a game changer? No, not by any means. So and that's the thing. Like if you're at a place where you have time to dig a lot of signals, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that sounds good. I'm going to dig anyhow. Even though I know it's not going to be silver, but and a lot of times, I pretty much know it's going to be what it's going to be, whether it's an older copper penny or a wheat penny or an Indian or something like that. But, there's a lot of times when stuff comes up and you dig it and you're totally shocked. You find like for instance, I found I don't know what it is. I found this thing today that's, some kind of, I forget what it is, but it looks like a badge thing. It's part of a medal. And it sounded like a quarter. Honestly, I would have bet it was a quarter, but it was just a little bit off. And I'm like, I don't know if that's a quarter or not, but I'd like to know what it is. So I'm going to dig it only out of curiosity. Turned out to be something really sweet, actually. But with the E-Track, when I used to run that pretty much religiously till it broke my shoulder off and caused me major problems.
Right.
I could go through and cherry pick a place, and I'll go in and pull all the silver straight out and have pretty much nothing but silver. Maybe one or two clad coins that rang up and sounded really good, But I could go through and just clean a place out, easily clean the silver right on out of it, and then move on to the next place if that's all I was looking to do. But unfortunately with that, once again, you miss a lot of the other really cool, relics and all kinds of other stuff that's down there that you don't give a second thought to because you're looking for silver. So, it's got its pros and its cons, but I'm pretty confident that, there's a lot of machines out there right now, whether it be the Impact, the Cruiser, the Knox, I'm sure, any of that stuff. Are you going to go out there and find at least 90-95% of the same targets and be able to hit those? Yeah. Are you going to be able to hit them with as good of
with as much information?
I don't want to say with as much information. Yeah. I don't know. I can't guarantee that with other machines, but but that's one of those things that if you have the time to detect a place, or if you have permission at a place, hopefully you can keep good standing permission so you can always go back and dig more and because obviously things change and you hear stuff differently on some days. So yeah, so I mean, I think it really, unless you're straight out cherry picking a place, then it really doesn't really totally matter, at least in my mind.
Let me go back to something, and I know our regular listeners have heard this before, but it's to this day, it blows my mind. When Scott first started detecting, we would especially then compare signals. And one of the first times, it might have been the first time we hunted together, we were in an old part of town, probably 1850s, I would guess, somewhere in there. And we were in the curb strip. And this curb strip, like most, was, heavy trash. And I'm following him. And the reason I'm following, I'm not being a jerk. Hunt through here and I'll follow you and listen, see if you missed anything and help you out. It was to help him out. And behind him, I hit a good signal about 8 inches down. And man, you can wiggle that coil a half an inch in any direction and hit signals. You know what I mean? Like I was pretty impressed. I come across it. And I said, hey, turn around, see if you missed this or what. And it ended up being a token in which he hit. He could hear it and it sounded good and it rang up like a good target. It wasn't jumpy or anything. And he could move his coil just a little bit any direction and hit other stuff. But he could get on it and hit it real good. Ended up being a token, I want to say about the size, I want to say a dime, but it might have been like nickel size. I was so impressed. Another time, I mean, this happened several times, but that just stuck out to me because that was one of my first experiences of comparing the AT Pro. And I never thought it would have hit that coin. Another one that really sticks out to me was a Barber dime, 8-9 inches with junk and iron around it. And he hadn't hunted over it. We were kind of in two different parts of the yard. And he come over, I said, hey, I got a good signal, come check it out. And it was a squeaker. You know, it was one of those you had to hit it just right to get it to squeak and sound good. He come over and swung over it, and he's like, dime at 8-9 inches, something like that. I forget. It sounded better on that AT Pro than it did the CTX. Actually, I believe I was using the CTX by then. Like that, man. That I was so impressed. Not only did it hit it, it sounded better. So, I do not put down the AT Pros and the AT line. I think they're incredible.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt that those are good machines, and I feel like I same thing you said earlier too is that I think that a lot of people with the AT Max when that came out, they were expecting like an AT Pro but just slightly better, and I think there's a lot of differences with that machine that maybe turn people the wrong way, because I've heard enough people say a lot of good things about it to realize that I think people just didn't understand. There's a lot of differences with that machine. I don't think people were taking the time to learn it before they went to discrediting or discounting the machine is that much better than the AT Pro.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so. I think it's man, I am getting tired. I've had a lot of fun. I'll tell you, when we started, I don't know. I'm always in the mood. I just wasn't really feeling it tonight. And I'm so glad. I feel like I had a lot of time.
You better get yourself some extra sleep, because you're going to need to rest up for next week, man. Days are counting down, and oh yes, I plan to give you an official detecting lesson, like I said.
That's adorable. That's adorable. Look, I'm
not even going to charge you for my detecting lesson services either. I'm a nice guy.
Oh Lord! Oh, listen to this. Listen to this crap. I don't even know how to respond to that. Really, like I don't know what to say. I mean, I feel like you're just making it worse on yourself when I kick your butt. Like it's just going to be more embarrassing because you're talking so much smack.
Hey, I just wanted to mention that Scott, and I'm not sure how you pronounce his last name. It's Troeckler. But anyhow, I posted this piece that I said I thought was a lightning rod, and he says it's a lightning rod too.
Yeah, I seen that. I meant to say something. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to butcher his last name here, but so I think it's a lightning rod, and yeah, it's such a cool piece. I don't want to destroy it. Yeah, I'll leave it as is. It can stay in my cool piece collection, I guess.
Yeah. I'll say this: when we're all said and done, I will give you a hug after and try to console you. And it'll be okay, Matt. It'll be okay. It's just metal detecting, buddy. You don't need to cry. You don't need to be upset. I'll be there to comfort you like a good friend.
How about this? The winner buys dinner. So I guess I'm buying you dinner, right?
Yeah, that sounds good to me. That works. Absolutely. I've got my finger on the volume to shut you down if you start talking smack again. I was going to just end the show and, hey, nobody can hear you, Matt. See you, sucker. Yeah. All right, let's wrap it up. Man, I had so much fun. I'm glad.
Right.
I'm glad we. I think we had I had a good time. I hope our listeners did. And I wonder if they tune in to make fun of us and getting on our rants that we ran about over and over, or if they find it. If they actually learn anything, or is it just like, hey, let's grab a beer, let's tune in, let's listen to these crazy guys.
I just want to make sure that, real quick, I just want to say this one more time. I want to make sure that I hope everybody realizes that I'm clearly joking. I'm not an arrogant prick. I don't really, I'm not being serious about beating him detecting or vice versa. It's just it's a friendly
fun.
joke. I mean, I just want everybody to, I don't want people to be like, oh, this Matt guy, he's a real jerk. He's just running his mouth. And I'm not being serious.
Yeah, he's not being serious. He is a jerk, but he's not being serious. He's not a jerk for this because he's just joking. And because he knows I'm going to kick his butt. I mean, he understands. He knows. And yeah. I figure we'll be into it about 2 hours. You'll be on your back with your 50 pounds of metal detectors and wore out. And I'll have to drag you out of the field crying, and it's going to be a mess. And then I'll be weighed down from all my fines. And
you'll have 50 extra pounds of fines. And I mean, does iron really count? I mean, if you're dragging all that extra iron around,
it counts to me. I love old iron. All right, man, let's wrap it up.
All right, we'll see you guys.
I'm tired of talking to you, Matt. Let's wrap it up.
All right. Yeah. Have a good evening.
Yeah, we'll talk to you soon. There you have it. Another show. Like I was trying to say, man, I had a lot of fun tonight. Thanks for the interaction in the chat. You guys made it really fun for me and made it really enjoyable, and I enjoyed it. All right, everybody, have a good night, and next Monday, I think you'll be hearing from Matt and I. Probably won't have a show Tuesday. Probably not going to have shows the following week, and I'll probably put something together. I don't know. We'll see. We'll play it by ear, but I'll let you guys know. Look for posting All Metal Mode Facebook group, and we'll let you know what's up. Good night, everybody.
The All Metal Mode podcast is sponsored by Digger's Den. If you are looking for a metal detector, get in touch with Mike or Brian. Together, they have years of experience with many different brands and models. They also truly enjoy what they do. You can contact them through Facebook at Digger's Den, visit the website at dddetectors.com, or give Mike a call. He makes it sound like it's so hard raising our boy, but trust me, he has time. 937-414-4578.